Hello and welcome to the Carbon Copy Podcast Running Out of Time special. I'm Isabel Sparrow and today's episode is celebrating the incredible day of schools focused action that took place in Manchester on Friday. Just a reminder that Carbon Copy is the official podcast host for this year's Climate Relay, and if you've missed any of the action so far, you can catch up on our first 5 episodes and all the episodes in our earlier series by searching for the Carbon Copy Podcast wherever you usually listen. First up in this episode, we spoke to Rob Potter from Manchester City Council about the work they're doing to ensure that climate action is prioritised in education settings across the city.
I'm Rob Potter. I'm the project manager for climate change in the education team at Manchester City Council. And essentially my job entails upscaling climate action across education settings all across Manchester. So that includes nurseries, schools, colleges, supporting them with creating their own climate action plans with a variety of different themes. So everything from reducing energy consumption to increasing the recycling rates and everything in between. I think there's been a long-standing interest from schools in this area of work because things like eco schools have been going for a while as a recognised national programme. But I think the thing with eco schools is it very much depends on the area and it can be a little bit sparse in certain areas. The other thing is eco schools is great for kind of pupil-led projects, but there isn't necessarily, there's not the ask of head teachers and deputy heads to do things right across the school. So it's not necessarily embedding sustainability and climate change into the whole school approach. So my role is partly about that as well. So as much as it's trying to drum up pupil interest, it's about getting senior leadership on board. Obviously climate change is all encompassing when you start delving into it. So it's not trying to give the school and making them tackle climate change all at once. It's about kind of what is feasible for them, what is manageable, but it's about trying to look at things that will actually reduce carbon emissions rather than just embedding it into the curriculum, which absolutely is important, but ultimately the main focus of the work is reducing carbon emissions. We are currently in the process of applying to be a UNICEF child-friendly city, which is all about putting children and young people's voices at the heart of the policy that we do. So we did a major piece of consultation spanning about 6 months with young people last year. And one of the things that really came out strongly was that climate change and tackling it across the city is a major, major focus for them. So with that in mind, we're launching a new programme in September, which is called School Climate Assemblies. And in partnership with the University of Manchester, there's going to be a couple of lessons teaching the young people about climate change. And it'll be through kind of information, but also they'll have the opportunity to engage with various different experts across different topics. Once they've had those couple of lessons, they'll submit almost like a headline idea of what they'd like to see happen. So it can be in their school, but it also can be in their local community as well. They'll then be given support by ourselves and the university to develop that idea into more of a prototype. So kind of a 1-page of what that actually looks like in practice. Then the top 18 will be shortlisted, and then the 18 who've submitted those ideas will be invited to the council chamber to come and present their ideas to each other, ask questions to each other about their ideas, and then ultimately those pupils will vote for their kind of favourite ones. All 18 will be given funding to become projects, but they will vote for kind of their favourites, and then it'll be tiered in terms of the funding that's given to each. And then it comes back to that UNICEF child-friendly city approach where it's young people actually driving the policies that we're enacting. When I was approached to say, does Manchester want to be part of this relay? I thought it really fits with what we're trying to do. So for the day, Friday the 14th of June, it'll be going through Manchester. It'll be starting just outside in Staley Bridge. And then there'll be a team throughout the day that are visiting 9 schools in total. And the baton will be going to each one. There'll be a slightly different format at each school. So some of the pupils will take part in doing like a mini relay around the school grounds. There'll be also schools, as well as those 9, there's loads of other schools along the route that'll be going along. So there'll be lots of schools coming out to support. So we're going to be spreading that climate awareness to loads and loads of pupils via that route. But there'll also be a couple of schools where they do a little session when they go to that school, raising the climate awareness. So might be a little presentation, might be a little assembly. We kind of felt like that aligns with the work we're trying to do with schools. And obviously that kind of comms will go to parents, it'll go to carers. So it spreads that message again of trying to engage as many people with climate action as possible. Also has the added benefits of getting pupils active, getting them outside. It being Manchester, there'll probably be rain on the day. It's generally how it works, but hopefully that won't put too many people off. Myself and a few other colleagues are doing one of the one of the longer routes. I'm really looking forward to it, to be fair. I think it should be a really good day.
It sounds like such a fab day and incredible to get so many children and young people involved. I'm reliably informed by the relay team that it was just as awesome as expected and the weather wasn't actually too terrible. Our next guest is Joe Pettifer, who I chatted to a little while back about the brilliant Let's Go Zero schools programme, which is supporting Running Out of Time as a lead partner.
Hi, I'm Joe Pettifer. I'm the team leader for the Midlands team of Climate Action Advisors who are part of the Let's Go Zero campaign. And Let's Go Zero is a campaign to unite teachers, pupils and parents to work together to be zero carbon by 2030. And the Climate Action Advisors project is a team of amazing people who can support schools one-to-one with really bespoke support to do just that. So Let's Go Zero is part of the wider charity Ashden, which is a global climate solutions charity. Let's Go Zero has been in operation for several years now, over 3, primarily as a campaign place, a place for schools to sign up, to pledge to be on this journey with us to aim towards that goal of zero carbon by 2030. Which we know is very much a journey, not a destination, but one that we're all making moves towards. Schools can sign up to that campaign to be part of that community that's pledging that work. And a number of schools, we've just hit 3,000, I think, just over 3,000, so nearly 10% of UK schools. That number, increasing number, has given us a real kind of voice to be heard in the corridors of power. So we work closely with the DfE and government departments to kind of relay that message from schools that the demand is there. The Climate Action Advisors project, of which I'm the part of, that's really new. So that's only 7 months old now. And that is a team of, there's going to be 32 of us by the end of the year, most of us already recruited across the regions of England, really giving that bespoke service to schools to really help them get to that Department of Education expectation that they have a climate action plan and a sustainability leadership team in place by 2025, which is zooming up upon us. So it's a really exciting project to be part of right now. So we support schools from wherever they are in their sustainability journey. We meet them and walk with them from that point. So we work within the sort of 4 areas that the Department of Education climate change strategy has really guided schools towards. So decarbonisation, green skills and careers, biodiversity, and adaptation and resilience, which is the really challenging one that schools are kind of having to consider now, really. The heat waves are upon us. We know that we need to adapt and become resilient. So we support schools in all of those areas. We help them to calculate their carbon footprint. So in all 3 scopes, so they know exactly what their sort of emissions responsibility is. And then we co-create with them a climate action plan to reduce those emissions in all areas. So we can link them up with organisations who can support them with their transport, with their energy emissions from their building, with their water, with their waste, with all the different areas that become part of a school's kind of responsibility. And we know that school estate is a considerable portion of the emissions responsibility of the country. So if we can support schools, not only can we target that huge estate and a huge amount of kind of land, but we can also target an incredible amount of hearts and minds, because not only the children being educated within those schools, but the parents and the governors and the wider community that all hear that same message. So powerful. We know that schools don't have the time, the money, or necessarily the climate education background to take the action that they want. So that's exactly why our service exists. We're entirely free. And wherever possible, every action we suggest is either free, will reduce their bills in some way, or if it does come with a cost, it's a real clear cost benefit. We exist to connect schools with the incredible organisations that are already out there doing amazing things. So we're a coalition group, really. We link schools up. So they come to us saying, we really need help monitoring our energy and reducing it. And we will guide them and recommend them to one of our partners who will help them do just that. We have a whole climate action countdown, a month of activities where all of our partners have contributed a really easy activity for schools to take part in almost every day of that month. And we understand the context of schools. My background is as a leader in a primary school, so we understand how busy schools are. So we've carefully designed it so the activities can be cherry picked. You don't have to do all of them. You can choose one day and not the second day. You can mix the days up. loads of really, really great, simple but achievable actions. And we know that action breeds more action. So do one thing, and then we know that sets you off on your journey. We're also providing some workshops during the relay. So we're going to schools that are on the relay route and delivering assemblies to the children. I've got one that's an outdoor assembly, so that's going to be a huge amount of fun as the relay comes through. So I'm privileged as the team leader to hear about all of the amazing stories that all of my team feedback about the schools that they're working with. But I'm going to celebrate one that I'm working with personally at the moment. It's a secondary school in Burton-on-Trent, and they already have a really wonderful orchard and a really small sort of farm on site. And they approached Let's Go Zero to say that they want to maximise this opportunity for all of their pupils. And where we've ended up with them is that they have pledged to become a lead school for green skills and careers. And they've given themselves a realistic sort of 4-year action plan. And it started off with creating an outdoor learning area so that the pupils are going to be able to learn within the orchard. So they're going to have an orchard classroom with open sides. Their rare breed sheep will be munching around as the pupils learn. They're plotting opportunities to learn in that space throughout every subject of the curriculum. So the business studies students are going to be working out ways of creating funding streams from the orchards. They're going to do some little apple selling projects. In their English lessons, they'll be out there taking inspiration directly from nature. They've got absolute plans for every subject, so it's really exciting.
What a great example of an approach to make nature and spending time outdoors part of everyday school life for those students. Definitely one that could be rolled out in many more places around the country. For the final chat in this Schools Focused episode, I spoke to Michelle Parks from Earth Cubs, another one of the Relay's lead partners, about their work engaging primary age children with environmental topics in the UK and all over the world.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for having me to come and chat today about Earth Cubs. My name is Michelle Parks. I'm the head of growth and impact at Earth Cubs. I've been lucky enough to be there since the very start. Earth Cubs started back in 2020 with the want and the need to bring key environmental and sustainable education and learning to children all around the world, with the aim to inspire and educate over 1 billion children by 2030. We know that key climate education isn't something that's covered on the curriculum on a global basis. And what we wanted to be able to do was make it fun and exciting for kids to learn about the world without being absolutely petrified about what's going on and spiking eco-anxiety. I have 2 young sons, and one of them, when he was about 5, came home in floods of tears because he had been shown a video at school of an orangutan stuck in the top of a tree in Borneo in a burnt-out rainforest, but wasn't given any guidance about what that meant and what he could do to actually make an impact himself, despite the fact that he's not in Borneo, and what that sort of positive impact could be. So Earth Cubs was created to try and get kids to feel empowered. So we are stories to learn the world. So lots of really fun videos of lots of cool characters like Nigel the Nervous Narwhal and Antonio the Antissa. And then all of the content that we do, we link back to the UN's global goals as well. So we want to be able to bring that blueprint for the planet into all of our learnings. And to back up our videos, which are about sort of 6 to 7 minutes long, we have lots of learning resources that teachers can bring into the classroom as well. So everything from assemblies and presentations to shorter video clips, word searches, anything that can sort of help to enhance and embed that learning within young children. We have grown really rapidly since 2020. So we also have a free app, which kids can download and explore lots of environments. That's had over 450,000 downloads. We're also in over 7,600 schools in over 130 countries, which equates to about 20 to 30,000 teachers who are using Earth Cubs, which has been amazing. We've had some really positive reactions, obviously, from kids and parents and teachers all around the world. And we're also free, which is obviously great to be able to learn about the environment. We didn't want there to be any barriers. So we're able to be free because we work with awesome mission-aligned organizations like National Grid, Frank Water, Ocean Generation, private equity firm called 17 Capital. And they allow us to continue to be able to provide awesome content and also in some cases tell their stories. So with National Grid, we wanted to be able to get renewable energy and bring that to children around the world in a really fun and easy to digestible ways. I love running out of time, and I got to know Dan from Running Out of Time when I was doing the plogging, so the litter picking up rubbish. We actually ran the whole length of the Thames in 6 days and picked up rubbish. It was 184 miles. And Dan actually came to join us for one of the legs of that. So I got to know Dan very well. And the concept of it's amazing for someone who is a runner and hopefully a green runner as well. I love the idea of being able to take that baton around all different parts of locations of the UK with a beautiful message that it's spreading as well. So loved being part of it. Last year, Earth Cubs went down to Hackney. So we were helping quite a few schools around there doing litter picks and getting them excited as well about the environment. This year, I'm helping out in the last 2 days. So I'll be going in with the Running Out of Time team to do assemblies in schools all around London, around the area. So sort of following the baton and speaking to kids and chatting to kids and sort of spreading that message of sustainability. And yeah, I can't wait to be there on the finish line at Big Ben again. I often find it's the children actually that inspire me. I think the action that you get from them on the ground is actually probably what inspires me the most. So probably not so much an actual project, but I went in recently into a school and I took a bunch of children out to go on a litter pick. And one of the little girls just turned to me. She was about 6 or 7, and she just said, "This is the best day of my life because I get to help save the planet." And that was just so incredible and so amazing that it makes you want to keep doing what you're doing because you can see firsthand the children, and you know that I'd like to think our planet's in great hands with the next generation coming up. So that for me was a really good one.
Definitely a lovely example of the enthusiasm and passion of our children and young people. As a parent myself, I've loved hearing the different ways that these organisations are making school and education more climate focused and more climate friendly. If you'd like any more information about any of our guests, please do check out the show notes. Thanks to Rob, Joe and Michelle for joining us for this episode of the Carbon Copy podcast. It was written and presented by me, Isabel Sparrow. The producer and editor is Bradley Ingham. We'll be back with the next exciting instalment of this Running Out of Time special tomorrow. So until then, thanks so much for listening and goodbye.